NPC modding as a lens for identity and creativity in Detroit, Become Human. Detroit, Become Human, DBH, developed by Quantic Dream and released in 2018, stands as a pinnacle of interactive storytelling in video games. Set in a near-future Detroit where androids have become an integral part of society, the game explores themes of consciousness, free will, and what it means to be human. While the main characters, Connor, Kara, and Markus, drive the central narrative, it is the array of non-playable characters, NPCs, that breathe life into the game's world, creating a rich tapestry of interactions and background stories. These NPCs, ranging from nameless pedestrians to minor characters with their own storylines, play a crucial role in establishing the game's atmosphere and reinforcing its themes. However, the game's impact extends beyond its original narrative through the efforts of its modding community. This paper examines how the modding of NPCs in DBH serves as a reflection of players' creativity and a means of exploring identity within the game's virtual space. In DBH, NPCs serve multiple functions that contribute to the game's immersive experience. They can be broadly categorized into two types: background characters and minor story-related characters. Background characters, such as android store clerks or human protesters, populate the streets and public spaces of virtual Detroit. These NPCs, while not directly influencing the main plot, are essential in creating a living, breathing world that responds to the player's actions and the changing social dynamics within the game. Minor story-related characters, on the other hand, have more defined roles and often interact directly with the protagonists. Characters like Daniel, a deviant android involved in a hostage situation, or Rose, a human sympathizer who aids androids, provide depth to the narrative and offer players additional perspectives on the game's central conflicts. The narrative importance of NPCs in DBH cannot be overstated. Through their behaviors, dialogues, and mere presence, these characters contribute significantly to the game's world-building efforts. They reflect the societal attitudes towards androids, showcasing the spectrum of human reactions from fear and hostility to curiosity and acceptance. This is particularly evident in crowd scenes where human NPCs may react with disgust or anger towards android characters, or in more intimate settings where individual NPCs may display unexpected kindness or cruelty. Case studies of significant NPCs further illustrate their importance. For instance, Daniel, the first deviant android encountered in the game, serves as an introduction to the concept of android awakening, and the potential dangers it poses. Tracy, or Marla, depending on player choices, an android sex worker, provides insight into the exploitation of androids and the complexities of their emerging emotions. Adam, a human child, and his interactions with the android protagonist Kara, explore themes of innocence and the potential for human-android bonds. These characters, while not central to the main plot, enrich the narrative and provide additional layers to the game's exploration of consciousness and humanity. The modding community for DBH emerged shortly after the game's release, driven by players' desire to expand upon and personalize their experience. Modding, the practice of altering a game's code or assets to create new content or change existing features, has a long history in gaming culture. In the case of DBH, modders have focused particularly on altering NPCs, given their importance to the game's atmosphere and narrative. Modders employ a variety of tools and techniques to alter the game. These may include 3D modeling software for creating or modifying character models, texture editing tools for changing character appearances, and script editors for altering dialogue or behaviors. The complexity of these modifications can range from simple texture swaps to complete overhauls of character models and behaviors. The motivations behind modding in DBH are diverse. For many, it represents a desire for personalization, the ability to tailor the game experience to their preferences or to see themselves represented in the game world. Others are driven by the allure of exploring what-if scenarios, reimagining storylines or character interactions that weren't present in the original game. There's also a significant subset of modders who approach the practice as a technical challenge, using it as an opportunity to develop their skills in 3D modeling, texturing, or scripting. NPC modding in DBH takes several forms, each offering unique ways to alter the game experience. Aesthetic modifications are perhaps the most common and accessible form of modding. These can involve altering a character's appearance through changes to their clothing, hairstyle, or other physical features. A popular example is the default Kara mod, which gives the character Kara a distinct beanie, altering her appearance while maintaining her core identity. Model swapping represents a more complex form of modding. This technique involves replacing one character's model with another, often leading to unexpected and sometimes humorous results. For instance, mods have been created where minor characters like Alice's stuffed fox or Hank's dog Sumo are swapped into major roles, completely changing the tone and context of certain scenes. Narrative and behavioral modifications delve even deeper into the game's systems. These mods can alter dialogue, change character behaviors, or even introduce entirely new storylines. An example of this is a mod that reimagines Kara's backstory, having her start the game with no memory and already in service to the character's Latko. Such mods can significantly alter the player's perception of characters and their motivations. Environmental and setting changes, while not directly related to NPCs, can dramatically affect how players perceive and interact with these characters. Mods that alter the appearance of Detroit, changing weather patterns or the state of android-human relations, can provide new contexts for NPC interactions. The act of modding NPCs in DBH can be seen as a form of self-expression for players. By altering the appearance, behavior, or storylines of characters, players project their own identities, preferences, and worldviews onto the game world. This personalization allows players to see themselves represented in the game or to explore identities and experiences different from their own. The reimagining of characters and narratives through modding also serves as a creative outlet. Modders often create alternative storylines or character arcs that explore themes or ideas not fully developed in the original game. This process of reimagining and creating new content demonstrates the depth of engagement that players have with the game's world and characters. The technical aspects of modding also showcase creativity. Modders often need to find innovative solutions to overcome the limitations of the game engine or to achieve effects not originally intended by the developers. This problem-solving process can lead to new techniques and tools that benefit the broader modding community. Indeed, the collaborative nature of the modding community is a key aspect of its identity. Modders frequently share techniques, tools, and resources, creating a collective knowledge base that enables more ambitious projects. This sense of community and shared purpose becomes an integral part of the modding experience, fostering a sense of belonging and shared identity among participants. Modding has a significant impact on how players engage with DBH. Perhaps most notably, it enhances the game's replayability and longevity. By introducing new variations on characters, storylines, or environments, mods give players reason to revisit the game long after they've exhausted the original content. Moreover, mods can expand upon the themes and narratives present in the original game. While DBH already explores complex ideas about consciousness and humanity, mods can delve into these themes from new angles or introduce entirely new philosophical questions for players to consider. The proliferation of mods also blurs the line between developer-created and player-created content. As mods become more sophisticated and widely adopted, they can begin to feel like natural extensions of the game world, challenging traditional notions of authorship and canon in video game narratives. The practice of modding, while creative and engaging, does raise certain ethical and legal questions. From a legal standpoint, mods exist in a gray area. While many game developers tolerate or even encourage modding, the use of a game's assets or code for modding could potentially infringe on copyright or intellectual property rights. There's also the question of maintaining the integrity of the original work. While mods allow for creative expression, they can potentially alter the game in ways that run counter to the developer's artistic vision or intended messages. This raises questions about the balance between player creativity and authorial intent. The attitude of developers towards modding can vary widely. Some embrace it as a way to extend the life of their games and foster community engagement. Others may view it with caution, concerned about potential negative impacts on the player experience or the game's reputation. In the case of DBH, the developers have not officially supported modding, but neither have they actively discouraged it. NPC modding in Detroit, Become Human represents a fascinating intersection of player creativity, identity exploration, and technological innovation. By altering the game's characters and world, players not only extend their engagement with the game but also participate in a form of collective storytelling and world building. The practice of modding NPCs in DBH reflects broader trends in player agency and creativity in narrative games. It demonstrates players' desire to not just consume content, but to actively shape and personalize their gaming experiences. As games continue to evolve as a medium, the role of modding and player-created content is likely to become increasingly significant. Looking to the future, the modding community for DBH and similar games is likely to continue pushing the boundaries of what's possible within these virtual worlds. As modding tools become more sophisticated and accessible, we may see even more complex and ambitious projects that further blur the lines between official and fan-created content. In conclusion, NPC modding in Detroit, Become Human serves as a powerful lens through which to examine questions of identity, creativity, and the evolving relationship between game developers and players. It stands as a testament to the depth of engagement that well-crafted virtual worlds can inspire, and the endless creativity of the gaming community.